In this video, we are going to take the Divi Filterable Portfolio module and turn it into this awesome masonry gallery. Unfortunately, Divi doesn't come with every single feature we need as web designers or web developers. So that means you need to know languages like HTML, CSS3 and JavaScript in order to get the functionality you want. But ladies and gents, there's no need to worry. You don't have to purchase any plugins or install any plugins, and you don't need to know any coding whatsoever. I'm going to give you all the code. All you need to know is how to copy and paste. Hey ladies and gents, and welcome to this new video tutorial where we are going to take the Divi Filterable Portfolio module and turn it into a masonry gallery. First of all, thank you for joining me and thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I really do appreciate it, and I really do hope you learn new things throughout this tutorial. Next thing is, you're obviously going to need Divi. You're going to need some web hosting, a domain name. If you don't have Divi or web hosting or a domain name, check the links in the description. You can purchase Divi through the link there, as well as web hosting and a domain name. And then just to be upfront and transparent with you guys, if you do purchase through my links, I do receive a commission, but it won't cost you anything extra. And if you do purchase through my links, thank you so much. It does mean so much to me and it does help support myself and my channel. And then just to let you know, the gallery we are building is responsive on all screen sizes. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into it. Before we get to building the masonry gallery, I just want to show you what Divi comes with. So what we will be using is called the Filterable Portfolio. And what's nice about it is it gives you these filter options at the top here. So you can kind of go in between them and it will just give you the projects for those categories. And on the standard Divi module, you'll just get images like this. You can put this hover effect with the gradients overlay, and you can put this icon on it. And at the bottom here, it gives you the name of the project as well as the category the project falls under. So let me just take you to the one we're going to build. So it still has this filterable portfolio, but mine doesn't work so nicely because in each category here, I only have 4 images. You'll notice there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 images. So you'll obviously want to build this according to how many images you have. But if I do all, then there is 7 images over here. And the only difference with mine, it's obviously in this masonry style. And when you hover over it, instead of getting an icon, it actually gives you the project name, which I think is quite nice. And I think this looks better than this type of portfolio gallery. First thing you want to do is log into your dashboard and then head over to projects, which you'll find in the menu bar on the left here. You'll see it's over here. You can just click on that. And what you want to do is create all your projects in here. So you'll just click this add new, go create a project. And for the sake of time, I've already created all my projects and I put them into their own categories. Once you've done that, you want to go and create a new section or a new page, wherever you want to put this masonry gallery. And I've just created a new page like this, and I'm now on the front end, and all we're going to do is enable the Visual Builder. So you might just add a new section on an existing page, but if you're starting on a brand new page like I am, you're going to get these 3 options, and we're going to select build from scratch. So for insert row, we only need a 1-column row, so I'm going to select that option. And for the module, I'm going to search for filter. Well, I just typed in filter, and you get this module called the Filterable Portfolio, and we're going to select that module. And this is how the module looks for now. So it puts in all your projects you've created, and we're going to change it up a bit. So for post count, so what they want to know here is how many projects you want to show on this page. I'm only going to show 7. And then here you can include all the categories you have. And I think if you leave it unchecked, by default, it displays all the categories anyway. Then we click on element here. For show title, which is this, so that reads project 12, I'm going to leave as yes. Show categories, which is this SEO, I'm going to select no. and show pagination, I'm going to select no. And then that's all I'm going to do under content. Then let's go to the design tab. And the first option is layout. So let's click on that. And you have two options here. You have full width, which you'll see this is full width. It takes up the whole width of the row. Or you can select grid. And grid is the same as I showed you at the beginning of this video. But the way we want to build it, we want to change it to full width. We're going to create our own grid. Then we can click on image and you can change things for the image if you want. I'm not going to change anything on the image. Then for text, I'm going to change nothing there as well. Then for title text, which is this text over here, the only thing I'm going to change is my text color to white. And that is because if I come to the one I've already built here, you'll see I have this overlay and the project title, and that's why I need it white, because it goes over this black overlay which has an opacity of 0.8. So that's all I'm really going to do here. Like I said, you guys can play around with sizes, with the font weights, with the font itself, and change it to whatever you want. But that's all I'm going to do for this tutorial. We then need to go to the advanced section. And we need to come to CSS ID and classes, and let's click on that. And then under CSS class, so not CSS ID, but the class, we're going to type in DG-grid, just like that. And then we just need to make one change to the images. So let's go to the custom CSS. And then let's scroll down to portfolio image. And in there, you want to type the following code: display, and then inline. So guys, just make sure you have it like that. So it's display, a colon, then the word inline, and then a semicolon. So that's all we're going to do for that. We can then save the changes, and you'll see nothing has really happened. It's still looking the same, but now we're going to get into the code. What I am going to do, let us save this page. And then I'm just going to open it in a new tab as well, so we can just see what it looks like on the front end. Then if you look in the description, there'll be a link to this code pen, and this is where I put all the code we need. So it's not too much code, and it's a matter of just copying and pasting. I'm actually going to go through the layout with you, because some of you might not want the same layout as I'm going to set here, but I'll show you how to change that around later. What you want to do is copy all this code, and I'll go through it with you now. And then let's go back to the builder, and then let's come over to the bottom here where we have our page settings, and let's click into there. And then let's click the advanced tab and custom CSS. I'm going to paste my CSS in here. You can either paste it in the custom CSS under Divi theme options, or you can add a code module and put it in there. Just remember to put it in between style tags. But I'm just going to paste it in here for ease. And you'll see the minute I paste it in, it works. So we have this grid. So this basically stays the same. This one spans over 2 columns. The third one here spans over 3 rows. So that, as you know, these are columns, and going across is rows. So I think I'm just going to save this. I'm going to come to the front end and I'm going to refresh it so I can show you what the code is doing. First of all, let us right click and inspect the code. Now I just want to show you, this is what it will look like on desktop and tablet. So if we go to tablet, I just want to click on here and go to tablet. That's what it'll look like on a tablet, so it remains the same. But when we get to a phone, it's just going to stack on top of one another. And guys, maybe just play around with the sizing of these filters here because you'll see this web development has gone to a new line now. It's broken it a little bit. So just play with the sizing so this all fits correctly. But I'm not going to do that in this video tutorial. The main thing was to get the Masonry Gallery working, which it is working. So that's what it'll look like on phone. It will just stack, but on tablets and desktops, you'll have this nice looking gallery. Well, at least I think it's nice looking. So if I come back here and we start from the top here, if you remember, we gave the actual module a class of DG grid. So that's what we're going to target in all our coding. So we're targeting our grid and our portfolio items, which the portfolio items holds all these images. Okay. And then what we're doing, we are saying it must display grid so that we get a grid. Now I'm going to come here. I'm going to just right click closer to here, and I just want to get to the, so it's over here. You'll see there it's got grid, and that's because you'll see our code here. There's the display grid and the gap of 4 pixels. I'm just going to click on this grid, and you'll see how the grid is made. It's made up of 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, and then 1, 2, 3 rows. So that's how our grid is made up. So let's go back here, and then we put in another line of code here that says gap 4 pixels, and the gap 4 pixels is the spacing between the images. So you'll see there's like a white border going around everything. That is the gap there, and you can change that to whatever you like. If you want it bigger, you can change it to 10 pixels. If you want it very narrow, then something like 1 or 2 pixels. So I can just show you. Let's change it to something like 20 pixels, and you'll see how big this gap got. If I change it to something like 1 pixel, you'll see how narrow this gap is. So you do whatever you feel is best for your website. I'm just going to leave it on 4 pixels. We then target our custom class we made again, and then we targeting the actual images in this grid. And we just giving it a height of 100%, and we got another line of code here, object fit cover. We just put that in so these images do not distort in this grid, because you'll see like this grid part here is much wider than the other grid part. So you don't want to distort. You want it to still look good in the grid. So that's why we've got that code object fit cover. Scroll a bit down. We're then targeting these items here, these individual items, with an after pseudo element. And what this does is it creates our black overlay. So if you want to change the color, you'll just change the background color to whatever you want. So let's say, for instance, I want this to be red. Okay, if I hover now, you'll see it's changed to red. But now there's no opacity on this, so you don't see the image coming through. So I'm just going to put it back to my original color, and you'll see it's gone to our black, and it has some opacity of it of 0.8 over there, and that's why you can see the image through it. So just remember, if you want to add opacity, you need to use this RGBA code in order to set the opacity to what you want it to be. And you can make this light if you want. If I bring this down to, say, 5, you'll see that the image shows a lot more. But I think that's too light, so that's why I've set it at 8. So that's what this code does. And then this next line of code, so this also works with opacity. You'll see here in the after pseudo element here, we've got this opacity set at 0, and that's so you can see the actual images. So you can see these images clearly. So that's because we've set the opacity to 0. If I to set the opacity to 1, you'll see it now takes this color here. But if we set it to 0, it doesn't show anything. So on hover, and that's why it's set here on hover, we set the opacity to 1 so that it does darken that background color. Then if we scroll down a bit further, this code over here target our H2, which is our project title. So it's this over here. And this just sets it so that it's in the center of our grid item here. And we've also given it a Z index so it appears on top of our background color and on top of our image. And then we've also got this transition, so you'll see it comes in nicely. It's not like a hard, fast transition when the background and the text comes in. It's quite smooth. And then this code here is the same. We've set the opacity to 0 so you don't see the text at the moment, but when you hover, you see the text, and that's what that does there. Right, and then we've just set a media query here, and it's for all screens that are 768 pixels and above. And this is to set this actually as it is on desktop and tablet. On phone, we just want it to stack underneath one another, otherwise this grid will be completely squashed. And then what we're doing, we're giving our grid, so again, we're targeting this very top item here, where we displayed it grid. We're targeting that again. And guys, sorry, I hope I'm making sense here. I don't even know if you want me to go through this code, but anyway, some of you might want to change how this grid looks, so that's why I'm actually going through it. But anyway, so what we're saying here, we want grid template columns. So we want columns, and we want it to repeat. And we want 4 columns, and we want them to be equal in size. So that stands for, so that 1FR, I think it's 1 fraction. So we want 4 columns, and they must be equal in size, so we set it to 1FR. So you'll see there's 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, and it'll probably be better if I go here. You'll see here's our columns. Those are the 4 columns we set. I'm going to come here quickly and just look for my code here. So here you'll see it is grid template columns repeat 4, 1FR. Let's say I wanted to change this column structure to 2. Now you can see I only have 2 columns. So that's how you change your columns. Let's go back there. And then we've also set this grid template rows. So we want 3 rows. So you need to put in this repeat, and you want 3 rows. And I've given it a set height of 150 pixels. So if I come to the front end here, you'll see here it is here, repeat 3, 150 pixels. Now you can make this bigger if you want. You'll see the height gets bigger, or you can set it to lower if you want. But I think 150 pixels looks good. And then because I wanted 3 rows, so these are your rows going across like this, and you'll see there's only 3 there. If I change this to 4, you'll see now there's an extra row added here. Okay, but I'm going to leave it at 3. So that's what that does. And now we get to the interesting part, how we actually set up these grid items to display like they do. So the first image is fine. We don't. This is how it's set up originally, so we don't have to target this first image. But what we wanted to do was target the second image. So I'm just going to come to the original build here quickly. You'll see here's the second image, but we wanted the second image to span across 2 columns. Remember, these are our columns. We wanted this image to span these 2 columns. And guys, I hope I'm going to make sense here. So what we have to do, we need to take this code here, and you'll use it. If you want to span it differently, you're going to use exactly the same code as I've got here. You're going to take this code here, and you'll see it's got this colon, nth of type, and in brackets it's got 2. So that means we are targeting the second image in this grid, which if I come back to the original one, this is the image here. You'll see it's the like social icons on a phone. And if I go to the one I built, you'll see it's the social icons on the phone. So that's how we target these images. So this would be image 1, that would be image 2, this would be image 3, this would be image 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, and 7. So guys, I hope that makes sense. So then what we want to do, we want to set the grid column at number 2. So if I come here, you'll see here's where 2 starts. And then we want it to span 2 columns. So we want it to span this column and this column. So hence we start at column 2 and we're spanning 2 columns. And that's why I've set it like this. Then if we come to the next one, which is nth of type 3, which is our third image, or our third item, grid item. If you come here to the original build, you'll see it's this pair of glasses with a computer screen in the background. If I come there, you'll see here it is here. There's the glasses. I'm sorry, it's got this hover state on now, so I hope you can see it. But there, it's the glasses and the computer screen in the background. So here we have to set two things. We need to first set the grid column. Now, remember, this is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. For the grid column, we want it in column 4. And because it's already set in column 4, if I go back to the original one, you'll see what happens is this second image is taking up this space. So this automatically moves to the fourth column because the second image took up columns 2 and columns 3. So our third image goes into column 4 automatically. So that's how we set it up. If we want it to remain in the same column it's already in, we just state, in this case, column 4, and we just set that to 4 as well after the /. But then, because we want it to span over the entire 3 rows, we need to set this grid row. And grid row, it's saying that it must start in row 1. Here's row 1 here. So it starts in row 1, and then it spans 3 rows. So there's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. So it spans 3 rows, which is, we only set it for 3 rows, so it spans all the rows. So guys, I hope that makes sense. Let's move on to the next one, which is nth of type 4, which is our fourth image, and it's this light bulb. If I go to the original build, you'll see the fourth image is this light bulb. And what we want it to do, we want it to be in column 1, which is this column here, and we want it to span 2 rows. So what we set, it's already in column 1, so the grid column will be just 1/1 because it's already in column 1. And then the grid rows, we want it to start from row 2. You'll see here, there's row 2. It starts from row 2 and spans 2 rows. That's 1 row, 2 rows. So it spans those 2 rows. And then, yeah, I just had to do one more to make this last one fit here. So you'll see that was 4. I missed out 5. And if we go look which one 5 was, 5 was project, it's named project 8. It's all this code here. And you'll see there's project 8. And there's project 6. But my 6th image is project 7. Sorry for how it's numbered. I should have numbered this better. But I made 12 projects, and that's how they've been placed in that order. But we need to take project 7 and span it these 2 rows. So we can go to this nth of child, but we don't need to do 5 because 5 is going to stay there and 7 is going to stay there. Okay. All we need to do is move 6 where we want it now. So that's why I've got the number 6 there. Then the grid column, it's already in column 3. So we just do this code, which is 3/3. The grid rows, we want it to start in row 2. So there's row 2, and it's starting in row 2. And we want it to span 2 rows. So it spans 2 rows. And guys, that's how I made this grid. And you can change this how you want to. If you want this one to rather span 2 columns, you can change this to 1, and then you'd say grid column 1. Maybe let me change this one for you. So we're going to take this first image and we're going to leave it in column 1, but we're going to span it over 2 columns. So I'm going to change the 2 to 1. Now you'll see it's moved to where the second image was because we haven't changed our grid column yet. But if we change this to 1 and leave it span 2, it starts in column 1 and spans 2. And then this image here, because we haven't put it in our code here, nth of type 2, it just takes up the remaining space. And sorry there, it just somehow kind of reset my code back to how it was. But guys, that's how you do it. Guys, I hope I've explained this well enough. It might seem a bit tricky, but if you have any questions, you know what to do. Ladies and gents, I hope you've learned something with CSS Grid today. And if you've enjoyed this video, please could I ask you a huge favor and to like this video. It does help with the YouTube algorithm and get this video out to more people. And then if you haven't subscribed yet, please can I ask you to hit that subscribe button and then hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time I release a new video. And if there are layouts that you want to try building Divi but not sure how to, leave a comment in the comment section or send me an email. You'll find my email address in the description. And then if you do need a website designed and developed and you might not have the time, or maybe it's a bit too overwhelming, reach out to me. I can assist you in designing and then developing your website. And if you want to book a call, there is a link to my website where you can book a call from there. Otherwise, please send me an email and we can link up from there. And if you're interested in any more tutorials or maybe looking for specific website builds, around about now there should be some playlists popping up, so make sure to click on them and have a watch. So that's it for now, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one. Cheers.